What's going on, everybody? My name is Monster, and welcome to episode 4 of Coach Profiles, the series where we ask coaches a series of questions so you can get to know them a little bit better. In this week, or not this week's episode, in today's episode, we have the commissioner of the NCL, Ian. What's up, man?
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going good, man. So I've known you for a very long time, I would say at least 6 months at this point. And so I pretty much know your answer to all of these questions, but to all the people who do not know you, these questions will be very interesting. So, question number 1. How did you get into Draft League?
This is kind of an interesting question. I have sort of a similar answer to Jed. I watched a lot of A Drive and Crimson Seabed. I got back into Pokemon when Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, and I'd taken like 3 or 4 years off of playing Pokemon because people in high school thought it was silly, but in university it became cool again. So I got a 3DS and Omega Ruby, beat the game, ended up trying to shiny hunt, and I found A Drive through shiny hunting stuff, and then watching his content. I thought the Draft League stuff was really cool. Started exploring that more with Crimson Seabed and stuff like that. Ended up becoming a sub of A Drive and finding a league that Cade was advertising called SAPL there. Didn't get a spot in the league, but I was a spectator and I helped this one guy draft a team. I'm not going to say his name because it's going to trigger half the audience. And he ended up starting a league, which I helped out with and ended up basically running. Called the UPBA, and that's kind of where it started from there. Actually, there was another in SAPL. I found another league called LET through Muddy, who was a coach in the NCL last season. He sort of advertised that, and I got into Draft League in about September of last year.
Wow, so it really hasn't been that long for you, huh? It's only been about 6 months.
No, September to May.
So it's about, what, 9 months?
June? 9 months or something, yeah.
So not that long compared to like Cade, who's been doing this for practically his entire life. All right, next question. How many leagues have you been in, and what were your results?
So, God, I think it's like 18 now. I started in LAT Season 1. I ended up placing, a tie for 3rd place. I made semifinals there. I was the champion of UPBA Season 1. I made playoffs in SAPL Season 3, dropped out of SAPL Season 4 for reasons that we won't talk about, dropped out of UPBA Season 2 for reasons we won't talk about. I tied for 3rd in Mount Silver Season 2, took over a team in CCBL Season 1 and managed to get like some forfeit wins and placed like 7th or something. Played a full season in DBA, didn't make playoffs. Full season in EPTL, didn't make playoffs. I tied for 3rd in PCL Season 1. Tied for 3rd, kind of, or full 3rd in D&D Season 6, and won the bracket side of things, the double elim side of things. I came 2nd last season in NCL, and I've got some leagues going on right now. So I would say, like 18 or 19.
Yeah, so lots of leagues with all sounding like they had pretty solid results, except for the leagues that you dropped out of, which is pretty impressive considering you haven't been in Draft League for a super long time at this point.
Yeah, it's only 2 that didn't end up in playoffs yet, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. All right, next question. What was your most successful Pokemon in these past leagues?
I have a few, and I'll sort of up at the end with the most obvious one. But I actually had quite a bit of success with Mega Glade. It went like 12-3 in 4 games or something. It was pretty good. Mega Latios I have had a lot of success with. Celesteela from last season in the NCL was super good. I've drafted Mega Houndoom a few times, and it's been really good. Magearna is probably my 2nd best. I've only had it in 2 leagues, but it has 34 kills.
Wow.
And the absolute most successful mon is Mimikyu. I actually did some stats on this. It's got 55 kills in 25 games, which is 2.2 kills per game that it's averaging. And it was the kill leader in UPBA Season 1, so I mean, who can argue with that?
Yeah, that's some pretty crazy numbers. I know you keep a doc that has all of your past mons, right? With like the kill leaderboard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So definitely some wild stuff there. 55 kills from Mimikyu. That's insane.
Yeah, that's over like 4 seasons.
That's crazy. All right, so next question. We're like flying through this right now. You're amazing. What is your favorite Pokemon to draft?
So it's probably a tie between Mimikyu and Sylveon. I'm just a fan of drafting fairies in general, I think. Magearna, if it's there, obviously, but I haven't had the opportunity too many times. I think Mimikyu for sure. It's such an offensive threat, and it's just such a good fairy in my hands. I don't know. Something about Mimikyu just gets me excited when I play the game.
Yeah, your Mimikyu is definitely very threatening, as you said. I mean, as we've already said, 55 kills, and it was the kill leader in UPBA Season 1. I definitely know all about that Mimikyu. Super scary. Alright, so next question. What's your general opinion of your team this season in NCL?
Well, this is kind of a difficult one, isn't it? I Veil plus setup.
That is what your team is.
That's like the short answer. I mean, I think it's okay. It's not exactly what I would have wanted, but I think I got a lot of really good pieces, and I'm going to try and fit them together and see how they synergize throughout the season. I know last season was definitely the season where I put in a ton of effort. This season, I'm sort of focusing more on the commissioning side instead of the actual battling side, and I'm kind of content with my second place. So, from last season, that is.
Okay, so you're kind of taking more of the commissioner role. I understand that for sure. I definitely think your team is very scary. In my opinion, I don't want to face it at all because there's just so much setup. Hopefully, I have something that has taunt. But yeah, definitely like your team a lot. So next question: how well do you think you'll do this season?
My goal is playoffs again. I think that's the big ticket is to make playoffs. I think that's been my goal in every league so far. It's something to strive towards at the very least. We have a much more competitive season this season. Not that it wasn't last season for me. I mean, I barely scraped by into playoffs despite having the second best record. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes this season.
Yeah, so making playoffs is definitely something that you do a lot, and definitely something you hold yourself to all the time. So not surprised to hear you said that either. So next question. Again, we are flying. This is easily going to be the fastest interview. What Pokemon do you think was tiered too high this season?
So this is really interesting because obviously I did the tiering.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you can get a little more insight out of me here. I actually made a little bit of a list for this question was coming. There's been a few things that I looked at that were maybe tiered a little bit too high. A couple things that we voted on, especially the ones we voted on as a league last season that didn't get dropped or lowered. So Doug Trio is on my list. I know a lot of people have been complaining about Doug Trio in tier 1 being too high. The reason that it's tiered too high is because stall was a thing last season, and I don't like that. Besides that, Silvally, we voted on lowering it to tier 3, and it barely got outvoted, so I think that's maybe tiered a little too high. Same with Hoopa. Regular Hoopa, we voted to lower it to tier 4, and it stayed by one vote. So those I think are tier too high, and then maybe Zeraora, but it's too early to tell with Zeraora, I think. A lot of people have been speculating, oh, maybe it's just a better Jolteon, or maybe we'll throw it in tier 2 right away. I don't think that's the right way to think about it. I think if you want to do that, you should start as high as you can, and then lower it as you see how it performs. And obviously, we haven't seen any games of it yet either.
Right.
So it's really hard to tell what tier it should actually fit in. If it's maybe only tiered in tier 1 because of its incredible stats and it just doesn't have the coverage moves. I mean, it only has one weakness in ground anyways. Electric is such a interesting typing that way. So we'll sort of see how that goes. And I'm not necessarily of the impression that Corona has the perfect team around Zeraora, so I'm curious if maybe someone drafts a perfect Zeraora team. I'm not sure what a good example of that would be, but maybe that's the scenario where it gets moved to tier 1, is confirmed to be a tier 1. So we'll sort of see. We may just take a vote at the end of the season to see what tier it should be in.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I expected to see or to hear a lot of things come out of you with these two questions because you did the tiers yourself. So lots of various points there that I honestly Zeraora was the one that I remember because it was the last one you talked about. So
yeah.
All right, next question, which is very similar to this one. What Pokemon do you think was tiered too low this season?
So a few things stand out to me. The first being Kunkelder. I was not expecting it to be a second round pick, and Phil picked it up pretty quick. We moved it down from tier 1 to tier 2, and it seemed to gain a ton of value. So maybe there should be like a tier 1.5 or a borderline tier, wink wink. Just that's how
I know
Smogon does
about
it.
those
But
things that you're talking about.
yeah, exactly, right? So I'm not sure. We'll see with Kunkelder. I'm gonna look closely at it, especially during the season, to see maybe if I made a mistake in moving it down, or if I was correct in moving it down, and Phil maybe just saw that it was in tier 2 and got a little excited. Mega Sceptile, Cade's been talking a lot about Mega Sceptile the last few days and how he thinks that it shouldn't be Mega Tier 3. I know it's Mega Tier 3 in a ton of other leagues, which is sort of where we're getting the basis for that from. I'm not sure if it's only going to be in his hands that it's like Mega Tier 1 material. I personally don't think it's ever Mega Tier 1 material. I think if it's going to be moved up, it'll be moved to Mega Tier 2. We might just do that next season just because Cade's been using it. I mean, we did that with Infernape and Mega Sharpedo, right? So why not, right?
Yeah, I definitely think with Mega Sceptile too, or just with Cade in general, he always picks up low tier Mega, so he gets a ridiculous amount of tier 1s on his team.
Yeah,
And Mega Sceptile definitely is the, like, without a doubt, the best Mega Tier 3. And I think it should probably be moved up next season just because of the fact that Cade gets a stupid team every season now.
it's definitely on the list. Yeah, for sure. The problem is that Cade's such an outlier in the format that it's hard to tier around him, but we have to tier around him so he doesn't get the same broken stuff every single season.
Right.
So yeah, I've got Mega Beedrill on my list as well, mostly because I kind of smashed the league with it last season, and I think Jed has a really solid team with Mega Beedrill this season. So I'm excited to see how Jed uses it. If he uses it super well, you can probably expect there's going to be a vote for Mega Beedrill. I think it loses a lot of value moving up to Mega Tier 1, unfortunately, and it's probably not going to be picked at all if it gets moved to Mega Tier 1. But it maybe is a little too overvalued in Mega Tier 2. So we might see just a change to the way that Mega Points work even, and then leave Mega Sceptile and Mega Beedrill in the same spots, and sort of have like the Mega Tier 1s you lose free points, and you just have neutral for Mega Tier 2, and then you maybe gain like 20 or 40 points for Tier 3 or something like that. So, and then the last one I had on my list was Buzzwole. Buzzwole was in Tier 2 last season, but I'm curious, and I'm going to be looking a lot at how Nacho uses it this season to see if it is worthy of being a Tier 1 completely by itself.
Okay, so definitely lots of things there, along with some insight as to what might be happening in Season 3. Definitely a very long list of answers there. Not surprised that you took forever to talk about these two questions, too, because you're just such a technical person.
That's true.
All right, next question. If you had to pick a move to have the highest kills this season, what would it be?
So it's interesting that everyone's been saying Earthquake. I mean, Earthquake for sure is like up there, right? But last season, Earthquake was second. So
What was in first?
maybe that's something. Thunderbolt was in first last season.
Okay.
And Hyper Voice was in third because of
Mega
Magic's
Gardevoir? Yeah.
Reign of Terror with Mega Gardevoir. I have my eyes set on Matt's Mega Sharpedo, so I'm going to go way off the block here and say that Crunch is going to be the highest kill move.
Okay, I feel you. You think Matt's gonna put that much work in with Mega Shark? He is
It's
pretty
either
good.
going to be Crunch or it's going to be Dragon Claw, I think.
Okay, definitely some different answers there. I was gonna say if you say Earthquake, and this is a very resident sleeper question. All right, so next question. Of all the Pokemon drafted, which one do you think will be the kill leader this season?
All right, I have quite a few suggestions for this one. So the first one is hilarious. I think Bibarel is going to compete for kill leaders. No, I'm joking. I don't think Bibarel is actually going to be that good. I'm hoping that it's good enough to at least get a few kills. I'm hoping 5 is kind of the cap for Bibarel. The floor for Bibarel this season.
Right.
I have high hopes for Mecha Pinsir. I have high hopes for Jed and Infernape. I have really high hope for Matt's Mega Sharpedo and Dom's Mega Charizard X. Both of them are fantastic battlers. We've seen Dom use Mega Charizard X before to incredible success, and Matt is just insane at the game. So I think Mega Shark is going to put in a lot of work. I think Ben is going to smash the league with Kieran Black, and I think Phil might surprise us all and just beat everyone with Manaphy. Those are kind of my predictions.
Yeah, definitely lots of things there. I definitely agree with Matt and with Cade too and stuff like that. Pretty much everybody has answered Cade with this. So, all right. So, I actually have one extra question for you, because you're the commissioner of the league, and I hope you have not looked at this because I told you not to.
I have not.
Okay, good. So, next question: as the commissioner of NCL, what do you think about Season 2? Has it improved? Is it more competitive?
Is it more competitive? Yes. I think it's much more competitive. Unfortunately, Mortal didn't have the motivation or the means to play a lot last season, so Mortal was kind of a write-off, unfortunately. Muddy drafted Stall. I mean, that's just like that didn't emphasize the competitiveness, and Daniel drafting Mono Dragon I think just showed how much this was more of a fun league last season. So yeah, I think it's a lot more competitive. Bringing in players like Dom, bringing in players like Phil, players like Ben, even Jay. I mean, I know Jay's not taking it that seriously this season, but Ben, Dom, and Phil, like, they're incredible battlers, and I think just bringing them in increases the skill level and the competitiveness of the league right away. In terms of just base improvement, I think as a commissioner, I improved a lot over my entire first season as a commissioner. Although I had a good basis coming into it because I essentially commissioned all of UPBA Season 1 and the partial part of UPBA Season 2 that existed. But in terms of improvement as a league, I think that it's solid. I would say we're sort of moving along into being more of a serious league, especially with developing this YouTube channel in the first place, as well as bringing in more coaches that are going to upload. It's sort of it's what you call brand recognition. So that's kind of a big thing. And Jed creating a logo for us and having also creating the draft slide for us and the thumbnail thing for us. So, like, having all these graphics out there with the NCL logo on them really stands out. And especially with all the extra networking and I guess you could call it marketing that we're doing of ourselves this season, I think it's going to bring a lot more traction, which sort of just improves everything. It's sort of like saying we started out as, what's a good example? We started out as like a single A baseball team last season, and then we've been doing some marketing, and I would say at this point we're probably like a double A baseball team, and I'm hoping that by the end of the season we'll be like a triple A baseball team. And then, if you're thinking of leagues like the GBA as an MLB team, then we may never get there because we're a showdown league specifically, and Wi-Fi leagues just tend to have a lot more traction. But maybe one day we can compete with leagues such as like the IPA or NPL, kind of the big showdown leagues that are on YouTube, and kind of have a thought in my mind that maybe one day will be like an upload required league. Maybe one day in the near future, who knows?
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said there. I think the league is definitely much more competitive. When you look at the conferences, and both conferences look super stacked, and then that's when you know that every coach is definitely very, very solid. And I do think we've improved a lot in terms of, like you said, with branding and stuff like that, just because of we've really been cranking out videos for this channel, and I think it's really cool. So definitely agree with everything you said, and really kind of cool to hear your thoughts on it as well. And so with that, that's all I have for you. Thank you guys, or thank you for the interview for one. Hopefully people got to know you a little bit better. And
you guys should check out my channel in the description, and you should check out Austin's channel in the description.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to say that for the past 2 videos. Those are also in the description, just so we're clear. That's going to be it for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and have a good day.